Fujifilm AF, it's bad, the internet gurus are saying. So go to Nikon ZF because it's a retro looking camera, and ditch Fujifilm forever because you'll have full frame image quality and it will rock your world. Is this true? I want to share with you my experience, why I have Nikon ZF, why I've sold the X-T5, and why I do regret selling my X-T5, but why I am keeping my X-T50 and other Fujifilm gear. So let's talk about this now. Hi there, Tudor Matescu here. I see that there are many debates. If you are buying a Nikon ZF and selling a Fujifilm camera, this means you will ditch Fujifilm. Well, I feel that it's not the case. I recently went out and tested this camera in very hard lighting conditions and in rain. So with one hand I had an umbrella and with the other hand I've used my Nikon ZF. And I will address the results in ultra low light conditions regarding the AF of Nikon ZF and if this camera it is better than X-T5 and then X-T50. So let's compare Nikon ZF versus X-T5 that I've used over 2 years with small and big lenses from Fujifilm, and let's see which one it's better depending on what photography you are doing or I am doing. But it's very important is that this discussion, as always, it will be based on my experience, bias, subjective reviews, because this is what I'm doing here. It is about my experience, and if you are ticking with it, it's not about specs, it's about how the camera it's acting for my personal experience and how are the end results. So let's address first size of Nikon ZF versus size of X-T5, but having in mind the lenses and the image quality that the lenses will bring to the table, because you can't judge a camera just looking at the body size and weight, because you can't take pictures without a lens. So this is ultra and very important. So let's compare size and weight with lenses of X-T5 and Nikon ZF. Well, we have here the pancake lens, the 27mm f2.8. And why I'm starting with this lens? Because I love very much the 40mm field of view. And the discussion will go around this field of view plus the 50mm lenses. And you can make your own calculation after I will show you my findings, because again it depends on person to person. So on the 40mm field of view we have on X-T5 a total package of 635 grams and on Nikon ZF 880 grams. I've calculated that the difference is around 245 grams. Now let's take the equivalent lens for image quality similar to the Nikon Z. So what is that similar package? We have 27mm f2.8. What is the image quality of the 27mm f2.8 compared to 40mm f2? I'm telling you, there is no comparison. 40mm f2, it is much better, much better. You have subject to background separation. You can use the lens for portraits with depth of field or without depth of field. The lens is very sharp, it has micro contrast, and also it has 3D pop to it. So even if it's not a stellar full frame lens, it's beating without problem the 27mm f2.8 lens without any discussion. Do we have other lens, AF lens on X-T5? No, we don't have a small lens like this. We have the Viltrox 27mm f1.2, a third-party lens. Well, how much that package X-T5 with Viltrox 27mm f1.2 will weigh? Well, I've made the calculation and it will weigh 1140 grams, so over 1 kilogram. So it will be heavier with around 300 grams than Nikon ZF. So if you want a good package in the 40mm field of view with AF, you must go to the Viltrox lens and you'll have a package very heavy and not so ergonomically nice like Nikon ZF. This is very important, ultra important. So you'll not be okay in the 40mm field of view at all. The only compromise that you can make is go with a manual focus lens like Voigtlander 27mm f2, and then yes, you'll have a similar package but without AF, with manual focusing. So this is another discussion. And if you want to do asked portraits on the streets, again, full frame, it's winning it, it's a real good lens, this 40mm f2 for portraits, a real good lens. So let's talk now about the 50mm lenses. So look here, almost similar package. And I've done the calculation, I will put here a print screen, but overall, Nikon ZF with 50mm f1.4, and I've decided to put this lens because it's cheaper than 30mm f1.4 from Fujifilm, and also it has the same size and weight like the 50mm f1.8 from Nikon Z, but it's f1.4. Yes, the f1.8 it's even sharper. So anyway, cheaper lenses than the APS-C equivalent lenses, and the size it is similar. The end result is that you'll have X-T5 with around 1 kilogram, and also you'll have Nikon ZF with 1 kilogram plus. So the difference, again, it will be around 200 grams. So overall, with Nikon ZF, you pay in weight 200 grams more depending on the lenses that you will use. Again, ultra premium, ultra good full frame lenses, f1.8 or f1.4, cheaper than X-T5 lenses. That also it's a big package. We can't say that this isn't a big package, and I've chose these lenses because they have better AF, comparable, let's say, but it's not comparable. I will address at the AF section this. And also you have a lens that is resolving the 40 megapixel sensor, because this is the idea why you buy a 40 megapixel camera, even if the 40 megapixel sensor, yes, it's improving the APS-C image quality a little. So anyway, cheaper, better image quality, better subject to background separation, full frame, and just 200 grams more on a better balanced body. The body of Nikon ZF, it is larger, and this is helping the weight not feel how you would expect if you are reading just specs. X-T5 with this, also it feels good, but it's on the heavy side. It's like a brick. It's not so, I can't say it. You really need to put the hands on both cameras to realize what I'm saying here. Because the Nikon ZF body, it is larger, the package is more fun and easy to use. Also, this is true if you would use a larger body like X-PRO3. X-PRO3, it is longer than X-T5, and it's helping balance these big lenses that Fujifilm did, and this was very important for me. So to not make the discussion any more longer on size, weight and lenses, because this is true with other focal lenses like 80mm f1.4 from Fujifilm. This is also true for the 23mm f1.4 and other equivalent lenses. On X-PRO3, yes, it's balancing very nice. On X-T5, I never liked the balance of those lenses. So if you're okay with X-T5, then okay. But for me, a larger body, it's winning a lot. Having both these packages in hand, I'm feeling that X-PRO3, it is heavier and it is harder for me to maneuver it compared to Nikon ZF. So this is very important. A large body, a longer body, a wide body, it's really helping distribute the weight, and also it's helping you maneuver the camera however you want. But don't get me wrong, X-PRO3, it is the best body from my point of view regarding ergonomics, size, and how this body it's balancing with the new WR lenses from Fujifilm. So I really do not like how X-T5 was balancing with these lenses, and also I don't like X-T50 how it's balancing. I need to add a small grip, and with the small grip it's a little better, but X-PRO3, it is the best body. Maybe I'm biased, again, biased reviews, but this large body, longer body, X-PRO3 and Nikon ZF, it's fitting my style and my need very, very well. So this is where I feel for me Nikon ZF, it's winning it, because it's a mix between X-PRO3 and X-T5, but with a full frame sensor, because also this is very important. These WR lenses are APS-C lenses in the end that will render good APS-C image quality, but not full frame like. And where you lose on APS-C, it is very important. Where you lose? You lose at wider lenses. So if you want wider lenses with a good depth of field, a good subject to background separation when it comes to portraits, you will not be able to get it. This 80mm f1.4, it's a very good lens, but the 28mm f2 from Sony or other full frame lens will give me better subject to background separation. And I really like those pictures with a lens that is wide and it's separating the subject from the background nice. With full frame, you can go even with a 24mm f1.8 lens, and also you have better subject to background separation than 80mm f1.4. And with the money that I pay on 80mm f1.4, I can buy all kinds of lenses. And talking also about lenses, it's very important to understand that on Nikon ZF, we do not have just Nikon lenses and third-party manufactured lenses. We have two adapters. I've used one on Nikon Z5, but on Nikon Z5 doesn't have good AF. But those adapters are adapting Sony lenses, Sony E-mount and FE mount lenses on Nikon Z mount lenses, and the reports are very good. I need to test it myself to see how that Megadap or other adapters are working. But if Nikon ZF will focus as it focuses with my lens, and I will talk at this AF, then this means you'll have plenty of lenses. Sigma FE mount lenses that will work with AF on Nikon ZF with the aperture ring and so on. And these small prime lenses from Sony. This is huge. This is ultra important because I can put the Zeiss 35mm f2.8 lens from Sony on Nikon ZF, and also I can put Sony 35mm f1.8 or Sigma 35mm f2. So we have plenty of lenses at prices much better with better image quality than Fujifilm lenses. So this open mount, because of those adapters, it's a huge deal. It's really ultra huge deal because this means you aren't constrained to big Nikon Z lenses. Again, plenty of third-party lenses like Samyang 45mm f1.8 that I've used on Nikon Z5 and I got very good results. So just imagine the AF. I will touch that AF soon because I know it's important for you, but let's talk first about buttons and ergonomics. So ergonomics of the buttons. Well, I will keep it short. X-T5, it is much better regarding buttons. It has plenty of buttons, plenty of settings regarding buttons and wheels. This doesn't have so many. And this button that is here, I am pressing it by mistake a lot. So again, yes, regarding ergonomics of the buttons and FN buttons, especially X-T5, it is winning. But regarding dials, these are metal dials. They are feeling great in hand. Fujifilm X-T5 are plastic dials. I really didn't like them too much. Also, I really like the implementation of switching from manual to aperture. It's easy, it is intuitive. And also the auto ISO, even if I don't have a direct FN button, it's very easy for my menu to configure it. I always keep my camera in auto ISO and it's working. At Fujifilm X-T5, I don't like how auto ISO is working because if X-T5 doesn't have plenty of light, it will lower my shutter speed, my minimum shutter speed, and this isn't okay. I would just want my picture to be sharp, even if it's underexposed. So a big problem here that I wasn't seeing be addressed. Now, menu ergonomics. If you learn the ZF system, you will learn it. If you learn the Fujifilm X-T5 menu system, you will learn it. I feel that both have problems. I don't think that anybody is winning here. On Fujifilm X-T5, I really don't like what they've did with the Q menu. They've ruined all that pleasure of Q simulations because the Q slots are saving AF settings and all kinds of settings, and it's even worse on X-T50. So yes, at menus, let's call them equally good. Now, EVF of Nikon ZF versus X-T5. Well, they are both equal in specs, but I feel that the Nikon ZF EVF, it is easier to be used. Probably it's because of this rounded eye shape, and it's easier for me to see very quickly the EVF and to raise the camera to my eye. On X-T5, I needed to adjust that squared eye cup and then see the picture. So this is easier. It is easier. So the EVF of ZF, it is much better because of this rounded design for me at least. So regarding EVF, ZF, it's winning, and also regarding the screen. The screen is big, bright. The screen is huge, so really liking this huge screen. A beautiful way to take pictures. It's so nice to see the big picture, to compose it. It's wow. So screen and EVF, Nikon ZF, it's winning it. Now let's talk about the AF. Fujifilm X-T5 versus Nikon ZF AF. Well, all the gurus and internet influencers are talking about the AF. It's good, it's not good, how is the AF? I will talk about photography AF. I'm not a video shooter, but when I've tried to use AF with X-T5, it was a pain. So the videos were hunting, and always when I'm looking at somebody doing video with a Fujifilm camera, you are able to see that hunting. So I didn't use Nikon ZF for video yet. I just use it in very hard conditions, lighting conditions, with one umbrella in hand, raining, and with this big camera in my other hand, and it was very hard to use it. But this was ideal to see if this camera is capable or not. So night photography, night street photography, portraits in ultra low light, AF zone, so all the entire screen after I did another test that also worked great. And what are the results? The results are crazy, amazing good. So I was just point and shoot, and the camera didn't miss a shot. No single shot was missed with IAF in ultra low light conditions, with faces in dark conditions, and also with faces backlit. So ultra sharp on the eye, no missed focus, instead photography snapping and having all these weird angles. And I will show these test pictures because I think it's important to see what this camera can do. So I was using this camera by night, plain darkness, with AF, and the zone was the entire screen. So just snap and shoot by night, ultra hard lighting conditions. No missed focuses. From 300 pictures, none was missed with this camera. Also, I've set the minimum shutter speed to 1/1000 because I wanted to be sure that I will not have pictures not in focus because of the shake of my hand. Again, one umbrella in hand and this camera without a grip in the other hand. And what is very important here, we are talking here about a full frame sensor that it delivered me in ultra low lighting conditions, sharp images, tech sharp images at 1/1000. That means that the IBIS, it is very good on Nikon ZF. So I feel that I was able to go even lower, like 1/500 or even lower, when I will not snap with an umbrella in my hand and with the camera in the other hand. So again, snap pictures, but I think this is the hardest test in real world for a full frame camera. So it delivered. So if you are a total newbie and you don't know composition and you don't know nothing, just put the camera in AF, auto, AFC, IAF, snap and shoot. Being day, being night, you'll have the focus where you want. Also, you can make other setting. This isn't the topic for today. But yes, regarding AF, Nikon ZF, it is 10 times, I would say, better than X-T5. I would have not been able to do this with X-T5, never ever. This is ultra important. So regarding AF, yes, top-notch AF. So this means that I will ditch the Fujifilm system. We will see at the conclusion part. But next, image quality. Let's talk about the image quality. This is full frame. X-T5, X-T50 are 40 megapixel cameras, APS-C cameras. Well, I will keep it short. Both have great image quality, but full frame for me, especially for humanistic photography, it is winning a lot because on full frame with lots of lenses, you have a good 3D pop and good micro contrast. On Fujifilm, you really need to know to pick your lenses, and especially the old lenses are very ultra good, like the 60mm f2.8, like the 35mm f1.4, but they do not resolve the 40 megapixel sensor. So in the end, we are comparing again a 24 megapixel great full frame sensor with X-T5. Also regarding dynamic range in highlights, wow, I was amazed how good this sensor it is regarding highlight recovery. Crazy good. I think it's even better than my Sony A7C. I'm not sure, but from what I've edited, very good. So regarding image quality, I can call them both equal, but I would incline regarding the lenses and the sensor size that Nikon ZF has an edge. You can compensate the full frame edge with the expensive Fujifilm WR lenses. Yes, you can do this, but you'll not be close in the end, especially if you are liking to shoot wide lenses. So on longer lenses from 50mm plus, yes, Fujifilm X-T5 may be there. but with wider lenses, like the 35mm f1.4, always at the wide end, full frame will win when it comes to subject to background separation, and that's 3D pop if you want this. So very important aspect here. Now let's talk about design and intention when it comes to cameras. From my experience with Fujifilm, after 10 plus years of using Fujifilm, here on Fujifilm you aren't able to see a consistent road. You have a 40 megapixel sensor now. They've made big lenses to compensate that 40 megapixel sensor, but they were new for their colors and for their small size and great image quality. But with the new 40 megapixel sensor, you don't have new small lenses that are resolving the 40 megapixel sensor. So they are going to the Olympus route. That was a shock for everybody when they've released those big f1.2 lenses to compensate the micro four thirds sensor. Olympus OM system did it right when they've released 20mm f1.4. Yes, that was and is an acceptable size for a micro four thirds camera. Well, that size, 20mm f1.4, I think it's ideal for Fujifilm system. So if Fujifilm doesn't invest in R&D to make smaller lenses like this one that have f1 aperture at least, then there is a contradiction in design. So today Fujifilm it is small, tomorrow it is big, today it's small again, and so on, like XM5. So you really don't know where Fujifilm is going, and this is a problem. You have big lenses, small lenses, all these lenses have different aperture rings, and all these lenses are functioning different when it comes to AF and focusing settings. So with one lens IAF is working, with other lens IAF it's not working, like this macro lens, a beautiful lens that at least for me on X-T5 failed a lot regarding IAF. So with Fujifilm you can't guess where they will go. On the other side, this is why I've praised Nikon ZF, because they are showing a clear path to their design. We have a big mount, a large camera, small pancake-ish lenses that are light and are making this large camera easy to use, but also we have those bigger lenses that will pair great with ZF. So you have consistency in design. You know where you put your money. Now I'm putting my money on X-T5 and I have a small lens that doesn't resolve the 40 megapixel sensor. So I need to buy another lens that it's 3 times more expensive than a full frame lens. Again, depending on what lens you are choosing, or at least 2 times than a Nikon 50mm f1.8. It's not okay. For me, this isn't okay. So this is telling me that Fujifilm, it's okay for hobby, but also with hobby, because Fujifilm is Fujifilm, you will want also that lens and also that lens and also that lens. With Nikon Z, you can go with f1.8, f1.4 and you'll be done. It's not like on APS-C. f1.8 or f1.4 on a full frame camera, a little more depth of field, a little more light. Anyway, not f2 versus f1.4. The difference between f1.8 and f1.4 on full frame, it's not so relevant if you are asking me. But anyway, the lenses have consistency and they are working great with Nikon ZF, but also with Nikon Z6, Nikon Z7 and so on. So you have consistency. You know where you are going and you know how to invest if you are asking me. So if you want to plan your budget, I think Nikon Z system, it's better suited for this. With Fujifilm, you'll want to try also that lens and also that lens. That lens has good AF, but that lens doesn't have good image quality. That lens has f1.4 aperture, but that lens has just f2 aperture, and you'll buy all those lenses because this is it. F2 aperture on APS-C, it will not deliver you f1.4 aperture results, especially on APS-C. So this is where Nikon Z can be very interesting for some people that are wanting to have a clear budget and a clear path in their investment. Now let's talk about Nikon ZF versus X-T5 regarding street photography. Well, street photography, it's a general style that can be made in different ways. Well, personally, I feel that both cameras have their role here. Nikon ZF can't replace X-T5 for street photography entirely because you do not have a tilt screen. So if you are liking to shoot like Vivian Maier down angle portraits, then ZF, it will be a little cumbersome here. Yes, you can adapt and discover some techniques to make the picture work, but yes, it's not as easy to shoot from the hip like X-T5. So if you want, and if your main style it's Vivian Meyers-like photography from down angle, then X-T5 it is better suited. And if you want a good lens, then yes, the 36mm f1.4 or the 18mm f1.4 or the 23mm f1.4 will be the lenses for pictures like this and other lenses from Fujifilm that I've talked on this channel. But other than that, if you are using the EVF, if you are doing Henri Cartier-Bresson photography, where you are putting more elements into a relationship, if you are doing all kinds of street photography styles, also ZF, it will be better because it has reliable AF, it has a great EVF and so on. But if you want a screen for down angle shots, yes, you'll be limited with Nikon ZF. So depending on the style of photography and on your mood, you must choose the right camera for you. This Nikon ZF, I feel it's replacing more X-PRO3 because, how I've said in my first review, the screen is closing very nice and the EVF it is ultra great. So I feel that the main competitor of Nikon ZF it is X-PRO3 or a Leica M camera because of this way of using the camera. So these are the main cameras that are threatened about Nikon ZF and not cameras that have a tilt screen. Well, the tilt screen has its place. Yes, if Nikon ZF had a tilt screen like X-T5 and X-T50, then yes, this would be the most perfect camera, I would say. Now, in conclusion, will I ditch Fujifilm because the Nikon ZF it is so good and because Nikon ZF it's a full frame? No, the answer is no, because from time to time it's not about the weight again. I'm feeling that the weight of ZF it is pretty okay for the moment in the bag. It's not bothering me at all. It's about the tilt screen, it's about the colors, the JPEG colors, and yes, it's about the tilt screen and all the lenses that I've started to love. So I'm keeping and using Fujifilm because of the lenses, of the Fujifilm colors, of the tilt screen, and also of the size. So I will use both systems tete-a-tete. Now, if you want just one system, which system should you choose? Well, it depends again. What is your preferred focal length? For the 40mm focal length, for this field of view, equivalent field of view in full frame terms, Nikon ZF it is a better choice. You have better lenses on Nikon ZF. You have the 40mm f2 Nikon Z, you have a Viltrox lens, you can adapt Sony lenses, you have Voigtlander dedicated lenses and so on. On Fujifilm X-T5 you are totally crippled if you are asking me. You have very few options, very few options. The only good quality and small and portable option it is the Voigtlander 27mm f2 lens. If you don't want full frame or Fujifilm, then the best choice for this field of view with a tilt screen and with silent mechanical shutter and with great ergonomics are the Micro Four Thirds cameras like Olympus OMD M10 Mark IV and also Lumix GX9, the best Micro Four Thirds camera for street photography. These are the systems that are great for the 40mm field of view. Fujifilm is on the last place for this field of view if you are asking me. On the last place. This is my opinion. Next, regarding 28mm field of view photography. Also, I do feel that the Nikon ZF and full frame cameras have advantages here and other wide fields of view. So the wider the field of view, the better a full frame camera if you want subject to background separation like Leica Q3 28mm. If you don't want subject to background separation and if you want all in focus, then yes, on Fujifilm you have great lenses, 18mm f1.2, 18mm f2 that it will do the job in the end, and also 16mm f2.8 and the 14mm f2.8. I think it's a great lens. I want that lens on my Fujifilm system. But if you want subject to background separation, then full frame it's winning it here. Now regarding longer lenses, well, I do feel that at the 50mm field of view Nikon Z it's still winning because you have that melted background and so on. Also at the 35mm field of view Nikon Z still better, but also here you'll have the 20mm f1.4. So it's really up to your budget and of your style of photography. The longer the lens, the differences will be smaller in the end, but maybe you want good AF and this is another discussion. So in the end, I do think that who is saying that they will ditch Fujifilm X-T5 for their AF. Probably they need that AF in different conditions like wedding and even photography where you can't rely for AF and you want IAF. Other than that, I don't see any reason why you should ditch Fujifilm for AF and image quality. It's still a good system, but yes, we have a long road in front of us because we need more lenses, consistent lenses, and especially I would say small and light lenses with a decent price, because as a multi-system user, I am always thinking, why should I pay so much for an APS-C lens when can I pay half the price for a full frame lens and it's small? And again, don't look just at Nikon Z lenses. You can adapt these small light lenses from Sony, and there are plenty of lenses. So Nikon ZF, it's a system where you can build small or big depending on how you want, and also Fujifilm. So as my last word, if you are just a hobby photographer, a street photographer, a family photographer, and you want a system that will be very compatible with your busy life, I do feel that Fujifilm it's the key here. If you have a busy life and if you don't have time for photography and size, weight, tilt screen, it's important for you, you can accept that Fujifilm doesn't have the greatest and latest AF and work around that AF and learn to use the AF and get the results that you want. But if you have time and if you like to play with cameras and you are passionate about cameras and you like to have multiple cameras, and depending on your job, maybe you are a wedding photographer or a portraiture photographer, yes, I feel that ZF it is a better choice. So in the end, it really depends on your personal needs. So if you are liking content like this, please subscribe now to my channel, subscribe to my newsletter for more photography tips and tricks. Leave me your comments, like this video, share this video, and please also be sure to check the next videos. It is free and it's helping me raise this channel. Thank you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.